Good evening. It is Friday evening, and today I had my last contracted day of the year for work. And what that means is where I live, teachers in my school district at least, and usually throughout the state, we sign a contract for the school day. So it's a 180-day contract. So now I have time off. We call it time off, but it's not really, because then we have groups that meet over the summer to plan for the next year, as well as I'm working summer school to help those students that weren't quite successful this past year make up a few credits so that they can remain on track to graduate. But that's enjoyable. I love working with those students because usually when they come in, they realize that they need to focus a little more and they try a little harder because they don't want to keep that cycle going. But anyway, so today was a very good day for me. I'm tired, and I noticed the other day when I was talking, I was tired that my speech would get muddled every now and that's simply because I talk all day long. Now, I'm not specifically a classroom teacher in and of itself. I don't have to directly teach whole classes, but I'm working with students constantly in classrooms with other teachers and assisting those students to work through their challenges, so to speak. And that could range anywhere from emotional disorders to vision impairments. So you name it. And I work with those students, mostly some type of neurodivergence, which, anyway, it's a wonderful job and it's very rewarding. But I talk all day long, nonstop. And if I'm not with the kids, I'm with the adults in meetings. So I'm going to try to be a little more cognizant of that. And even though I'm tired and I can hear it in my voice, I'm going to try not to mumble, but I'm also going to try not to over enunciate because that sounds weird too. There's no winning, I tell you, but I'm going to try. Okay. So the last video I made, was it the last one? Anyway, we just got through doing the hashtag to this assignment at the Hermit's Cave, the 10 decks I'll never let go of. 10 decks I'm always going to have. And if you recall, I talked about the Tarocchi Italiani, the Urban Tarot. I had Culiacoltate, the Raziel or Razil, Wisdom of Pooh, all wonderful decks. And then at the end, I said this week I was going to get a deck that would bump one of those off that 10 list. And it came. It came yesterday, but I was not in a place where I could make a video yesterday. It came yesterday, and now I get to introduce to you the one that would definitely bump one of the other decks off the list. I'm not going to go back and try to figure out which one, because choosing those 10 was in and of itself a chore. I'm just so glad that when Simon made the hashtag, it was not ranked or in order from your favorite to the last, or vice versa. So thank you, Simon, for not ranking those. But this is a deck that I have wanted probably ever since I knew it existed, which has only been a couple of years. Good evening. It is Friday evening, and today I had my last contracted day of the year for work. And what that means is where I live, teachers in my school district at least, and usually throughout the state, we sign a contract for the school day. So it's a 180-day contract. So now I have time off. We call it time off, but it's not really, because then we have groups that meet over the summer to plan for the next year, as well as I'm working summer school to help those students that weren't quite successful this past year make up a few credits so that they can remain on track to graduate. But that's enjoyable. I love working with those students because usually when they come in, they realize that they need to focus a little more and they try a little harder because they don't want to keep that cycle going. But anyway, so today was a very good day for me. I'm tired, and I noticed the other day when I was talking, I was tired that my speech would get muddled every now and that's simply because I talk all day long. Now, I'm not specifically a classroom teacher in and of itself. I don't have um, to directly teach whole classes, but I'm working with students constantly in classrooms with other teachers, and assisting those students to work through their challenges, so to speak. And that could range anywhere from emotional disorders to vision impairments. So you name it. And I work with those students, um, uh, mostly some type of neurodivergence, which, anyway, it's a wonderful job and it's very rewarding. But I talk all day long, nonstop. And if I'm not with the kids, I'm with the adults in meetings. So I'm going to try to be a little more cognizant of that. And even though I'm tired and I can hear it in my voice, I'm going to try not to mumble, but I'm also going to try not to over enunciate because that sounds weird too. There's no winning, I tell you, but I'm going to try. Okay. So the last video I made, was it the last one? Anyway, we just got through doing the hashtag to this Simon at the Hermit's Cave, the 10 decks I'll never let go of, 10 decks I'm always going to have. And if you recall, I talked about the Tarocchi Italiani, the Urban Tarot. I had Culiaco Tate, the Raziel or Razil, Wisdom of Pooh, all wonderful decks. And then at the end, I said this week I was going to get a deck that would bump one of those off that 10 list, and it came. It came yesterday, but I was not in a place where I could make a video yesterday. It came yesterday, and now I get to introduce to you the one that would definitely bump one of the other decks off the list. I'm not going to go back and try to figure out which one, because that choosing those 10 was in and of itself a chore. I'm just so glad that when Simon made the hashtag, it was not ranked or in order from your favorite to the last, or vice versa. So thank you, Simon, for not ranking those. But this is a deck that I have wanted probably ever since I knew it existed, which has only been a couple of years. And the deck, of course, I'm talking about is the Spirit Keepers Tarot. Now, this is a deck I have wanted ever since I knew it existed. I may have said that already. And the deck I'm talking about, of course, is the Spirit Keepers Tarot. This is the Revelation edition. This is the third edition she came out with, Benabel Wynn. And the first one was black and white. The next one was in sepia. It's called the Vitruvian edition. And this is the Revelation edition. After continuing, I didn't let it go. After continuing to post online and saying, I really wish I could find this deck. I just can't afford the crazy prices. It was in a new group I was in. I can't remember the name of the group now, but this wonderful lady who lives in Austin, Texas. Her first initial is K. That's not her name. But if you're watching this and you know who you would be, and I'll share this with you, sent me a message and said, send me a private message. And I did. She had 2 decks. And she had one, and she said she never uses it. Not only had she never used it, it was still in the cellophane, or the original wrapping. And then it was also still in the original bubble wrap from when it had shipped. And I thought for about maybe 20 minutes about not opening it, but I'm never going to let it go. And I am going to use it. So the Spirit Keepers Tarot, many of you are familiar with it. Many of you are not. If you are new, new-ish to tarot. Maybe you've never seen it. And there are still decks out that maybe came out a few months ago, maybe even this past week, that people talk about and know about, and I just don't, I didn't know about it. So maybe someone doesn't know about this one. But it's the Spirit Keepers Tarot. It is out of print, but you can find it. And if you're persistent, like I am, maybe one day come across a copy that's obtainable. The design on this box is insane. And everything has meaning. There's not something just put on here for decoration. And I'll go into that in a little bit. Now, I will go through the cards like a flip through. I'm not going to discuss each card because there is a ton of symbolism, and those videos are out there. In fact, Tammy Pie has a series of videos on using the deck and working with it, and I will put a link to her channel here. And she goes into really good detail about the different decks and what's different and how to use them, or maybe, you know, what's... But the Spirit Keepers Revelation second printing, 753 of 3168. Order of the Virtuosos, Benabel Willen, and it's signed. It's one thing she did. She hand signed all of her decks. I believe this is from the first one that she published. I would have to look it up, but I'm fairly certain that's the case. So this would be from the first black and white edition. She taught herself how to draw to do this deck, which I think is phenomenal. Came with a magnet, and then Kay had put in a sticker for me too. That was very sweet. All right. Now, this does come with a guidebook, and it does give you enough information to read with it, but it is a very heavily esoteric deck. So, Benabel Wynn also wrote a full guidebook. It's 700 pages. And it was a self-published, so she made it available through Lulu, I think is the name of the publisher. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. I'll put it on the screen here. So you would order it and they'd publish it and send it to you. I just went yesterday actually and looked, and I thought they weren't printing it anymore. But when I looked, you could still order it, and it's $24 for the Revelation edition. That doesn't include shipping. Shipping is completely different. So, but I was surprised you could still order it. At least it let me put it in the cart and everything. I didn't check out yet. But I'm going to get that book. There are PDF copies around. I'm not going to push that or tell you how to find it because I don't know if that is out of bounds for what it should be doing. And so I'm not going to promote that. But if you are just interested in reading and not getting the deck or anything, I do know that that was available from when it was available from her website as well as when it was first out. So there are old files floating around basically. So I will bring the camera down just a little bit, and I'm going to continue to talk while I flip through these. See, that is good. So you'll notice that Spirit in Search of Experience, the Initiate. And there are 3 of these cards that you can use as the Fool, is my understanding. There's the Initiate, the Seeker, and the Keeper. And I've read just a little bit. There might be one that's assigned as different roles, but the Magus and everything in here, she in her larger book, it talks about all the symbols, the references here, probably the goddess or persona this is represented by, and it would give you the meaning behind the serpent, the priestess. you can see all the detail. This is all hand-drawn, pen and ink. And then she went online, not online. She used a digital tool. I forgot the name of it, but this is all on her website. You can look it up. And there are tons of free resources on her website as well. She has articles and different workbooks, but she designed, if you look really close in here, each color is a different pattern stamp, and she created every single one of those in all the different hues to use to color the deck. I mean, it's just incredible. And then she also discusses on her website how she created this deck, how many hours she put into it. And I do want to say a huge thank you to Marilyn from Marilyn's Tarot Take, because she and I were discussing this deck, and she said, well, I'm going to help you manifest that. And I swear to God, it wasn't even a week that someone had messaged me. So if I'm not saying if you to contact Marilyn if you need something, but the force is powerful with that one. And I do attribute my having come along this deck with whatever positive energies she threw my way. So thank you, Marilyn. I really appreciate it. You are an angel. And if you haven't seen her channel, it's Marilyn's Tarot Take. It's just, I mean, her personality, her voice, when she talks about the cards, it's just such a joy in it. And I feel that I don't always sound as joyful as she does, because it's usually later at night. I'm getting ready to go to bed. You know, if I had days off, like when I retire, probably, I'm a morning person. So if I can get up and do something in the morning early and then take an afternoon nap, I'm a happy camper. The demon battling the Typhon. There's all sorts of discussions on the Demiurge and Sophia, and like I said before, this is an incredibly esoteric deck, and I can't speak to the cards yet as far as the meaning of everything, but that is one thing I am going to work through. Now, I will say that Venabelle Wynn, also in her book, in the guidebook that came with it, said that, you know, all of that information is there, and that was how she intended the deck to be. Let me see if I can find it right here real quick. She had a nice little piece in here. Okay, so I'm going to read this short here for you. In pursuit of revealing a Prisha Theologia, a primordial truth about divinity, the Spirit Keeper's Tarot journeys back to our cradles of civilization. This is a deck that integrates ancient theologies from disparate corners of the world. I created the Spirit Keeper's Tarot with a singular mission in mind: to design the most powerful occult technology possible. Whether I have succeeded in that mission is not for me to say, but for each holder of these cards to discern. May these cards meet you where you are, then lead you to higher, hallowed ground. And then she goes into talking about the line work and how she did that. So, but she goes on to say a little bit later in that introduction that, you know, you can use it like a regular tarot. Everything is still there. And in the images as well, she attempted, it's a little bit further in there, but she married the Rider-Waite-Smith and Thoth symbolism. So all those elements are here. They may not stick out at you right at first, some more than others. but you can read it with it like a tarot deck you normally would, just a RWS or Thoth, or intuitively. So it is meant for that as well. And she said there is nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have a way you have to do it, so to speak. And that's one thing I like about her writing and the way she talks about the cards. It's yours and your practice, and you know what you're capable of. We don't always admit it, but we know what we're capable of. We know what we like. We know how we work, and we know how we communicate with the cards. And it's different for every single one of us. We have some things in common. We all talk about intuition. We all talk about checking the guidebook. We all talk about these things. We all talk about what these symbols mean to me. There are variations in how we interpret those. Some people read the cards and they have a very strict textbook use of the cards, where if it's not in the book, then that's not what it means. Whereas more of it, like myself, some of us look at a card and go like, well, that's the 4 of coins, but I don't think it means what I think it means in this particular reading with this question. I'm really getting this strongly that it means something else. And so we go with that. Room for everybody, right? But the art, to think that she taught herself how to draw, to do this ink and pen with all of the meanings and symbols. There's not one thing in any card that doesn't mean something. Now that would drive some people crazy, but me, that is it's you could pick any card and go through the symbolism and go through everything and just disappear into it. Not literally, but my mind would go into it, and I would start thinking and meditating on that. And to me, it's, I almost started to say nirvana, but it's not nirvana. It's what I love to do. It's like reading a good book. Each one of these would be a chapter in a book or a novella. Is the only way I know how to describe it. And the fact that there's so much in each card, and it doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel overwhelming, it doesn't feel crowded. Everything is still moving and breathing and alive. And a lot of that is the way she uses color. Because in some of these cards, if the sky wasn't all blue, and that blue is going to mean something, but if this was all it'd be very heavy, but it's not. Just the way she uses color, I think, really takes the weight off the image. I mean, even this one that's darker, you can see they're in this area where they have all this ground space, so the characters can breathe. It's just beautiful. And this one, a little trick here where there's the crack in the door or window. You can see outside, so it invites you to view the horizon, makes it not feel so tight and close to your face. Look at the sky colors in that sky. That is incredible. Beautiful. And I don't know if this particular design means anything, or it's just the way the light's supposed to reflect off the clouds, but that would be interesting to know. But like I said, Tammy Pye has wonderful work on it. Benabelle Wynn, I believe, has videos that she made for these. She has a whole video series on, not series, but she has videos. And if you go to her website, all you have to do is type in Benabelle Wynn, and her website will come up, and she'll have links to all her resources and videos and YouTubes. And she's so prolific and just makes it so easy for everyone to find it. See if I can do this because I'm going to hold the cards now, so it's not going to be so far down. But Convalescent, 4 of Swords. And this is what I mean. You can still read with this, like the RWS. But every little thing in here, the vase with the image, all of that is going to have a meaning. So I cannot wait to dive a little deeper into the card meanings, and actually read the book and follow the videos. And at some point, I'm going to have to do a video on my esoteric decks and just sort of maybe a little comparison. But I have quite a few. And some people, that's not their thing. If it's not, that's fine. And if you're watching this and you're looking at this deck going like, I don't think I want to work with that. It's too much. I need something simpler. There's nothing wrong with that. I love this. Look at the movement. And then you have this idea that this person is falling back and firing. And this is, I believe, some type of angelic spirit, or it's just beautiful. And I don't know, is that, oh, I can't see them. Okay, that's Thoth. That's the god Thoth. There we go. So if you ever wonder why the Thoth Tarot is called the Thoth Tarot, it's actually god Thoth. I've heard that pronounced so many different ways, and I'm not even going to get into that. I just say it the easiest way I can. The 8 of Orbs. The Pugilist. I love that title. 9 of Scepters. And these are by, if you notice as I do the flip through, these are by numbers and ranks. The Haunt. 9 of Swords. 9 of Orbs. The Eminence. The Burdened One. This, I believe, is Atlas. Just incredible. And see the markings on the hands. Those might be Seals of Solomon. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I'll have to look at those later. The Joyous One, absolutely beautiful. I believe this is a Oriental deity. The Destroyer, 10 of Swords. It's powerful. And finally, the Dynasty. And here we have the Tree of Life and the Sephiroth. And a lot more going on. These colors of the Sephiroth, those are the actual colors of the emanations as they're talked about. And all those colors have meanings. But this deck, absolutely beautiful. If you... the backs, all of this hand-drawn and painted. Gilding. The cardstock is matte. I'm not... I think, probably like, what, $3.50? It's a little bit thicker than a standard deck, but it has, I'm not going to shuffle yet because I'm not ready to do that, but it slides very well for overhand shuffling. And if you wanted to riffle shuffle it, not a problem. I usually overhand, so that's probably my go-to. But I would like to thank Kay for working out a deal to where I could have this deck. And you know how people talk about a soul deck. I don't know if this is it, but it is certainly, because with that I have a hard time. I think instead of a top 10 of decks I will never get rid of, it would have to be my 3 soul decks or my 5 soul decks. because there are decks that I connect with on a deep level. That are more than just, I'm not letting them go. They really feel like an extension of myself. And this might be one of those. All right, so that is the Spirit Keepers Tarot. I might come back to it, but please know that the resources are out there if you want to know more. Benabelle Wynn's website, Tammy Pie's series on the Spirit Keepers Tarot, and just the various others I'm sure have done, that I don't know about, have done plenty of work with the Spirit Keepers Tarot. You would just need to type it in YouTube and find it. There'd be tons of walkthroughs, but you can get past the, well, don't get past them, watch them, because I'm sure they're really good. They're more of a walkthrough than what I did. I did a flip through and a discussion. But I wanted to thank you. I wanted to share this with you because it is, I still can't believe the Raziel, the Spirit Keepers, the Oculi Occultate. What next? It just, I've stopped asking the universe for things because I think I've met my quota. But and I just feel very, very fortunate and grateful and thankful to the people out there that have made those things possible. So thank you. I hope you have a good evening. And this is Friday evening, so I will see and chat with a lot of you tomorrow morning, Saturday, in the Hermit's Cave. Oh, and with Toadstool Tarot too. Yeah, don't forget Toadstool Tarot with Robin. Robin's on first. All right. And don't ask me who's on second, because that's a bad joke. Anyway, have a good night. Bye.